Hey, how's it going? I'm listening to Captain Beefheart here. There were some ideas I wanted to bounce off you. But you gotta know. Gotta know. I wanna lick you everywhere. You should check out Captain Beefheart if you haven't yet. Okay, first of all, space-time is mind. Mind is space-time. That's why I want to make this one word, space-time mind. Okay? I want to try a little thought experiment here. You're walking in the mountains, okay? You pick up a rock. Just imagine this, please. Walking around the mountain, you pick up a rock, you throw it off into the trees, you hear it go through the trees and land and stuff. Okay, you just created space. You just had a little dream with me. Try this out on your dog, too. The mind definitely creates space. That space is gone now. You can go back to that hiking trip there for a minute, or you can just forget all about it. Where is that space? You don't know. Same as a dream. Now, obviously, outside you can't change it in the same way or something. But it's got to be the same principle. You know, space-time is mind. The mind produces space. So what you're really talking about when you're talking about the whole universe is the mechanics of mind. The mind produced this whole world. The mind is the unknown. You don't know what produced this whole world. Now I want to add to this the idea. I want to go from this to the idea. There are two directions of knowledge. One is analytical. Analytical means taking things apart and seeing how they work. Analytical is very closely linked to applicable knowledge. You know, if you want to learn to drive a stick shift, you got to know how the gears work. You got to know what the clutch does. You got to know how the transmission works, the gearbox, the drive shaft, everything. If you want to fix a car, you need to do the same thing. That's very closely linked to physicists smashing atoms to see what the tiniest particles are, and so on. Okay, you're just getting, you're taking things apart so that you can see them, you know, on their own and working in systems. Organization means organs. See? Now, the other direction is to connect everything. Is to see everything as one. To resolve the dream. You know, and when you resolve it, somehow it's going to kind of not exist anymore. I mean, because it's not going to exist as anything separate. The mind is the unknown, okay? And that goes in the direction of the unknown, of resolving the dream. It's not about understanding it. It's about existence. There's no question of understanding it. It just exists. That's what created this whole thing. Okay, you don't know where the space of your thoughts comes from, you don't know where your dreams come from, and you don't know where this world comes from. You're not going to figure it out, because it's not a question of figuring it out. Let's go midpoint between this and look at Yaqui Indian. Let's look at Carlos Castaneda going down to study Yaqui Indian sorcerers. They go into a state called seeing, where they perceive energy directly. They see all these little filaments of light, infinitesimally long and infinitesimally millions of them, making up reality. And they see this big pyrotechnic world. Nothing looks the same, and they have this thing called. People look like luminous beings floating above the ground with a bright point of light on them. It's called the assemblage point, and perception is created when emanations outside the cocoon line up with ones inside the cocoon, you know, by way of at the assemblage point. And the task of sorcerer is to move the assemblage point so that it aligns different emanations. It's almost like a belly button or something, but no, I mean it isn't. It's just like some point of light that connects, through which the emanations outside connect with those inside. So think about this. Think about it. That is mechanical. And they do all these incredible things with reality by doing that. That's mechanical. Almost like learning to drive a car. A stick shift or whatever. And yet, they have this big concept of the unknown. The unknown they call the Nawal. That it's this huge ocean in which is a tiny island called the Tonal, which is the known. Everything you can know or think about is the Tonal. Now, the mind is the unknown. And now I'm going to bring in the quote from a friend of mine, spirit guide, Raymond. I said, I asked, my friend Adam was channeling the spirit guide, and I asked him, where does the energy of the universe originate? He said, in thought. And for that, at that time, that was a really unexpected response. So I said, where does thought originate? And he said, in being. And I said, okay, where does being originate? And he said, in self. I said, where does self originate? And he said, question mark. So, I got to wrap this up soon, but keep exploring the world and trying to figure things out. But that's a totally different level than waking up. Because realizing it's all a dream, because that's existence. You are that. You are it. And your mind is it. When you think mind, that is the right direction, because that's unknown. And that's the source somehow. The whole thing is just like spooling out from, some unknown. And that's why you can't tell if it's objective or subjective. Because it's all already there. It's all already done. It's one thing. What you're thinking are all these different things. So it gets really strange when you start to connect things that you didn't think were connected before, and realize they are connected. Realize they're one thing. And you've got to keep this principle of the unknown in mind, or you're not going to quite understand it, because there isn't any understanding the unknown. There's just going in that direction. It's pretty spooky, but it's cool. So check it out. See you.